Oh, hey, what's up?
Hey, aren't you into that anime kind of stuff?
Yeah, I watch anime. It's one of my favorite things out there.
Oh, yeah, I was just wondering, but isn't anime kind of for kids?
If you're a longtime anime fan or even a short-term anime fan, this is a question you probably heard at least once when discussing this medium to someone unfamiliar with it. And while it is super easy to just rip your hair out and say, of course it isn't for kids, come on! Have you seen Attack on Titan? Clannad? Berserk? Jeez! I wanted to take a very different approach and answer this question logically and give my thoughts and reasonings on why anime is not for kids, but also for kids at the very same time. And I also wanted to dig kind of to the root of it all and answer why anime has this stigma in the first place. And my answer might actually surprise you. But hey, if you enjoyed this discussion, please consider subscribing down below because one, I would really appreciate it. Like, thank you so much. And two, I plan on doing more of these in the future. So if you enjoy this one, you'll probably enjoy those. But without further ado, let's really get into this discussion on why anime is not for kids. So, TLDR, anime is for kids, but also not for kids? You see, what I mean is that I believe anime is a spectrum. On one side, you have those shows that obviously are for kids. Your Bakugan, your Digimons, your Pokemons, all the Mons. But then on the other side of that spectrum, you have the darker, more adult-themed shows. Things like Berserk, Clannad, Anohana, and Tokyo Ghoul. Those are all very real adult-themed shows that aren't meant for kids. And then you have that weird gray area where shows aren't meant for kids, but also aren't meant for adults. So with this knowledge in mind, it's kind of weird that some people believe that anime is just for kids, because anime is one of the most creative, if not most creative medium out there. I mean, seriously, what medium can pull off giant Titan themed people attacking people in giant walls with Spider-Man gear and then box cutter swords? No other medium could pull it off as well as anime. And that creativity is what sets anime apart from every other medium. That freedom of expression with absolutely no limitations is what sets anime for kids, but also not for kids. That's why it's really disheartening to see that people generalize all of anime as something that's childish and for children, because they don't understand that this medium is so creative and has no limitations, where the skies are the limit, that every show has a possibility to be for someone. There is something out there for someone in this genre. That is what really sets it apart from everything else. I want to give my own piece of my pie and say why I believe anime is not for kids. I actually picked out 3 reasons that are very near and dear to me that I want to say for you guys, and you might feel differently. You might have your own reasons, but these are just mine. So hey, if you want to tell me your reasons, you can definitely let me know down below. I will definitely read it, and we can definitely have like a mini discussion. But anyways, let's get started on my reasons. Number 1, animes talk about the realities of loss and grief. This is a pretty dark topic to start off with, but the only anime that comes into my mind about this is Anohana, the Flower We Saw That Day. This is an anime about letting go of the people that have gone from your life, and it's one of the most gut-wrenching heart punchers of all time. Like, I am telling you, this is a slobber knocker for the heart. And I cannot imagine a child sitting through this and watching this and just not really feeling anything. Like, I feel like they would not really process this grief and emotional turmoil that this show puts you through. And that is something I believe that anime does so well sometimes. Not all the time. Definitely not all the time. But the realities of loss and grief is just so emotional in anime sometimes that it transcends like the art boundaries it is contained in. It feels so real and natural that when I see this on the screen, I wept like a child for days on end. And even now, when I think back about it, it kind of makes me tear up a little bit. So that's one of my reasons why I think anime should definitely not be consumed by children. Oh my god, I have just chosen serious topics, Jesus. But my second reason on why I think anime is not for kids is that a lot of times in some animes, it can actually bring up ethical discussions that really pull at your brain. It will make you question reality. And the number one anime that did that for me is none other than Code Geass. The discussion between right and wrong. Who is the right and wrong in the world, and who decides that? That is a question you cannot answer if you're 10, 12, or a child watching this show. And every time I hear this question asked to me, I'm like, isn't anime for kids? And I'm just like, if anime is for kids, I would not have pondered if Lelouch was on the right side of history when he took over the world, or if Suzaku was doing the right thing by siding with the government. That is not a question I'm asking as a child, okay? Like, oh my god. These ethical discussions are one that I really enjoy, because when you really sit down and believe, sit down and take in the world, everything is not black and white, and I love it when shows paint out that not black and white system in their world. It's such an interesting discussion that I love it so much. But now, with that out of the way, let's move on to my final reason on why I believe anime is not for kids. This last one is kind of sad, but also not sad in my opinion, because it's kind of hopeful in a way. But my last thing on why I believe anime is not for kids is because it tackles the realities of failure and disappointment. And the number one anime that comes to mind when I think of this is none other than my favorite sports anime of all time, Haikyuu. It was the end of season 1, and you think it's a sports anime. I am watching a sports anime. The team is always going to win no matter what. They are destined. That plot armor is thick, baby. And let me tell you, I thought the same. But spoilers for season 1 of Haikyuu. If you haven't seen it, just watch it. Like I had to spoil it for this to make sense. But Karasuno lost their game, and it was heartbreaking. It was one of the most heartbreaking things. And while the topic may have just been volleyball, I think what really makes it real is these are their dreams, efforts, and everything on the line. And you think they're going to win because this is an anime and everything ends happily, but they don't. It's the crushing reality of failure and disappointment. And a child really can't process that because they're not old enough to go through and understand life's many failures that are going to happen. And you're going to be knocked down, and you just have to get back up. And that is something that I love to see in anime, because plot armor is thick in this genre. Let me tell you, I'm talking about thick. When I see these realities of failure and loss, I just cannot help but understand how real it is again. Like, it transcends the median for me, that it is something real that I just hits me like a truck. Like, Jesus, I feel run over sometimes. But that is going to be my 3 reasons on why I believe anime is not for kids. And the video's not over yet, so you should keep watching. I actually want to discuss on why I believe this question is even asked in the first place, because it's 2020 and I'm still being asked why anime, why I watch anime, because it's childish. And I'm like, Mom, Dad, Aunt May, I swear to God, if you ask me this one more time. So stick around so you can hear me answer this question. So there are probably a myriad of reasons on why people think anime is childish, but I've narrowed it down to 2 big reasons I believe that people come to think this way. And the first one is generalization. So what I mean by this is that people outside our genre like to take all of anime, push it into a condensed little circle, put it in a box, slap a bow on it, and say, this is all of anime. And when you generalize all of anime like that, you're going to get the biggest names, values, and miss out on a lot of other shows' themes and ideas. So in this case, it's probably going to be shonen. That is probably the ideals that shine through. And when you look at shonen ideals, they match closest to cartoons. And when people put those 2 together, they see the colors, the animation styles, the bright lights, and the visuals. They think they are one and the same. So when it comes to that comparison, it is very easy to come into the mindset from an outsider's point of view that anime is for kids. And that's how generalization has honestly helped this mindset fester and grow even to 2020. Jesus! And the other reason why I believe this misconception is still such a big thing today is because of shonen. And do not get me wrong, I love shonen as much as the next guy. Black Clover is a bop, Dragon Ball Z is my childhood, and My Hero Academia is a slapper. But shonen has played a role in continuing this misconception in our medium. So what I mean by this is that shonen is meant for everyone. Me, you, your mom, your dog, your cow, your horse, everyone. Its themes and ideas are very easily relatable, so they attract the most number of viewers. That is why shonens will float to the top of the most popular animes of all time, because they are so easily relatable and attract everyone. This leads to shonens being the flagship faces of our median. Because these flagship shows are the face of our median, that is what people outside of our genre will remember us for. That is what they will associate our median with. That is why shonen is a big contributor to when people say, is anime for kids? And that is why I believe generalization and shonen has kept this idea of, is anime for kids, alive even in 2020. And even now I ask myself, what can we do to change this mindset in society? And it is a really tough question to answer. I believe the only way for this misconception to really end is anime has to hit super mainstream. You might think it's mainstream now, but I'm talking about animes on primetime TV, movie theaters, phones, watches, everywhere, the whole shebang. Because until everyone is exposed to this medium and they can see the inner depths of this medium and see the more adult themed shows, people are still going to have this general misconception that anime is for kids. Because let's be real, shonens are so cool. They are like honestly some of the coolest things out there, and that's what's going to spread the fastest and the easiest and get the eyes of people outside of median. So do I think anime has the potential to be that mainstream to end this misconception? Yes, I really do, because even now anime is as popular as it's ever been, and who knows what it'll look like in just 5 years from now. But this video has probably gone on really long, and if you honestly made it to the end, I just have to say thank you so much. I really hope you enjoyed this, me just rambling on about one of my favorite medians in the whole world in anime. And this was really fun to do. I have to say, I really enjoyed just yelling into my camera for like 15 or 20 minutes or so. But hey, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, because I'm going to be releasing a few more videos like this in the very near future. So if you enjoyed this, you're probably going to enjoy those. But with that out of the way, I really hope you enjoyed this video on me tackling one of anime's biggest misconceptions, is anime for kids. I'll catch you in the next discussion video, alright? BriThi, your local anime YouTuber, signing off for now. I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye!